Reddit Ask Me Anything. My ex hired someone to kill me, but didn't get away with it. Almost. Serious, over a year after I separated from my husband, he finally gave up trying to get me back and decided to hire someone to kill me instead. Luckily, the police were notified and an elaborate sting was set up to catch him, which included them pretty much faking my murder. 2 days ago, my ex-husband received a 10-year sentence for conspiracy to commit murder. Can you tell the entire story from beginning to end? Even if you don't consider yourself a good storyteller, it will still give us an outline to ask further questions about. For the first year after I left him, he was in pretty much constant contact. He called, texted, or showed up at my house every single day, and it was always constant fighting. He tried every trick he could think of to try and get me to come back to him, and I continued to refuse. About 6 months before the incident, I completely cut off contact with him, finally realizing that even speaking to him was giving him hope that there was still a chance of getting back together. He continued to follow me around for a while after that, but then stopped suddenly, and I heard nothing else from him. One morning, after the kids were in school, I got a knock on my door. It was a couple of police officers, and they informed me that he had hired someone to kill me, and they were about to set up a sting to gather evidence and catch him. The supposed hitman called him to inform him that the job was done. Then a 911 call was made, reporting a possible burglary at my address. Another police officer showed up, then radioed for an ambulance. More officers started showing up. Then the ambulance arrived. They had no idea it was a sting until they got there. Soon afterward, the coroner was called. He also had no idea. A couple of detectives left the scene to go and inform him that his wife had been murdered and asked him to come to the police station and help them out by answering some questions. He answered their questions, I assume, and then was informed that I wasn't really dead, which is when he went into panic mode. This is pretty much the only way that his reaction was described to me. Then they arrested him. Once we knew that they had him in custody, everyone at my house packed up and left. The crime scene tape was taken down, and then everyone was gone. I was asked to go to the police station because my family was waiting there to see me. Do you think 10 years is enough, or will you fear for your safety after he is released? I will definitely be afraid for my safety, and that of my children after his release. I know of a person who was in a similar position where the offender stated at his trial that he'd come back for her. I think it got him another couple of years. And when released he was on tight probation, which made impossible to even get within a county of her. When he comes up for parole, be sure to attend hearings and speak up asking that parole not be granted. Scumbag from my town openly said he'd come back for the woman who was a witness to a murder he'd committed. Did his 8 years end. As soon as he was released, came back and murdered her. A friend of mine was killed under similar circumstances. You guys are going to make OP sleep so well at night. Well, he is going to get out eventually. In Canada, you can get violent offender status, which means locked up forever. Sorry, but this is America. We need to make room for non-violent drug offenders. Are you afraid of what 2024 will bring? Yes, and I'm afraid that he will be paroled long before he has actually served his 10-year sentence. The doc in your state should be obligated to notify you of all parole hearings so that you may appear before the board to oppose his parole. You may wish to inquire about this, if you haven't already. Correct. Moreover, the prosecutors should notify her. Source: I'm a prosecutor. Before the police brought this to your attention, did you have any suspicions? Beforehand, I had a strong suspicion that he was planning something. I just didn't know what. I knew that it wasn't in his nature to just give up on something that he thought he deserved. I knew that it wasn't in his nature to just give up on something that he thought he deserved. Taken to extreme, this is one of the worst qualities anyone can have in terms of relationships and dating. It's what makes one party become a creeper or try non-consensual acts. Yet it's celebrated for the self-described nice guy in movies. So what was the contract amount he paid to take your life? I believe that the highest amount he offered was $5,000. Damn, $5K? I wouldn't even risk jail time on a burglary charge for $5K, let alone murder. Cause you ain't living on dem streets, bruh. That's just insulting. Do you know how he reacted after he was informed of your murder? From what I was told, he played the part of the distraught husband very well, until he found out that I wasn't really dead. How much time elapsed between your murder and his arrest? I am curious how the police safeguarded your children. Yeah, a few hours at most. She said they faked her murder and took down the tape once they had him in custody. She also said this all happened while her children were at school and was cleared up before they even got home that day. This is excellent police work. Good to see them get positive press. How did you first meet? Were there any warning signs along the way? We met at work. We worked for the same company, although not the same location. Our work brought us to the same location at least a couple of times a week. There were lots of warning signs the last couple of years that we were together, which is why we were separated. How did you find out that he was trying to get you killed? I found out about it when the police showed up at my door to inform me that he was attempting to hire someone to kill me, and that they were about to conduct a sting to catch him. I had no idea before that. That's interesting. How did the police find out? Did he pick one of those hitmans who are actually undercover cops or something? He asked his friends if anyone knew someone who could do it for him. One of his friends informed the police. Hey guys, hypothetically, if you were going to get your ex murdered, how would you go about doing it? I'm just saying. Guys, I'm just saying. You call Mother Ducker Jones. That's what you do. So, let's say I have $3,000 and a handgun. Would you, hypothetically, shoot my ex in the head 3 times? Well, hypothetically, you would be looking at least $5,000 for me too. I mean, what inspired you to post this Ask Me Anything? To me, it's kind of therapeutic. In a way, I'm getting it all off my chest. Also, many of the questions make me think about things that I never put a lot of thought into before. So far, it's kind of helping me wrap my mind around the whole thing and accept it as something that happened to me. The whole thing is still surreal, even in my memory. Can you block all visitation to your kids? What have you told them or how are they coping? He has no visitation with the kids. I've told them that their father is in jail for trying to hurt mom. They don't know many of the details, but I couldn't keep the basics from them. How old are they? Will you eventually tell them the truth, or just let it lie as is? My children are elementary school age right now. I will make sure that they know at least most of the truth before he is released. Future Reddit Ask Me Anything. My dad tried to hire someone to kill my mom and got caught. Ask me anything. They grow up so fast. Do you think you'll ever trust someone else enough to have a relationship? I think it might be possible, although difficult, but I'm not really looking for that at the moment. Do you have any advice for people that are currently in an abusive relationship and struggle to get out? My best advice would be to get out, no matter what you have to do. I understand the fear of having nowhere else to go, the embarrassment of having to admit to your family and friends what your marriage has become, and having to admit that you've lied to hide the abuse from them. All of that is difficult, but staying is always worse. Have you had any contact from his side of the family? What did they say? I'm close with several members of his family. They have been very supportive of me through everything. Whoa, that's incredible. I'd hope I could do the same if a family member went off the deep end. My mom's best friend Mary had a daughter that tried to kill her husband and children. Mary, and a lot of her family, completely disowned their daughter and have a decent relationship with the husband. Mary said that after the horror effect wore off, she and her family were embarrassed by how the daughter acted. Mary had no ill feelings to the father, and as far as she could tell, he was a great father and a decent husband. Mary wanted to maintain a relationship with her grandchildren and realized that the best thing for them was if they never saw her daughter again. According to her, she thinks of the husband as her son and doesn't recognize her daughter as one of her children. That's actually kind of sad. It's less sad than if Mary's daughter had succeeded. You're both right. Have you had any communication with him since his arrest? No, I haven't, and I hope that I don't have to. How did the police help you fake your own murder? The police conducted a sting in which someone called 911 to report a break-in at my home. The officer that responded was in on it and called for an ambulance when he arrived. Paramedics and even the coroner showed up at my house. and pretended to be working a crime scene. It's a small town, so word travels quickly, so they knew that he would hear about what was going on and believe that his plan had worked. Did any of your loved ones think you were dead? What an ordeal. Yes, they all did. My family, excluding my children, were outside the house, trying to find out what was going on when the coroner arrived at my house. Where were you and your children during the fake murder? I was in the house, staying away from the doors and windows, so that I couldn't be seen. My kids were at school, and the whole thing was over before school was out. So what did you do at school today? Somehow no matter what they did at school wouldn't really be that interesting on that particular day. Today mommy died and daddy went to jail, then mommy undied. Oh, you made a macaroni picture of a turkey? The fact that you used the word undied proves to me that you've had some kids. Holy shit, that's duckin' scary. I prefer to imagine the immense relief felt by her loved ones when they find out it was a sting operation and she's fine. Yep, holy ducking shit. Could you imagine the pool of happy tears they all swam in when she revealed she wasn't actually murdered? Still pretty ducked for the family. I feel like they'd understand as it leads to the guy who tried to kill her being put behind bars. How long did they think you were dead? 1 hour? 24? It was about an hour before they were escorted to the police station and informed of what was really happening. She'll get around to telling them sooner or later. She's got some chores first, and Christmas is coming. My god, where does the time go? Actually, why not wait until Christmas, deliver their gifts and be like, surprise. Easter is more appropriate for this kind of surprise. Did they give you the option to stay dead, like fake your death and restart elsewhere? I have slightly dreamed of doing this. Edit. Faking my death, not hiring a hitman. Do both. Hire a hitman targeting yourself. Frame the hiring on someone else. Then when the police show up to help you fake your death, stay dead. It's foolproof. How did the police find out he hired someone? Did you get any details of this? Was he just trying to make subtle Craigslist ads asking for a hitman? I don't think he tried Craigslist. Instead, he just asked all of his friends if they knew someone who could do it. I get the impression that he only talked about it to people he trusted, but one of his friends informed the police, and then he was introduced to either an informant or an undercover officer who pretended to be the hitman. Thanks for doing the Amma again. Were you there for the sentencing? Did it feel satisfying or did you feel pity for your ex? I wasn't there for his sentencing. The detective on the case called me and informed me that he was in court and about to plead guilty, rather than go to trial. I felt nothing but relief. I'm usually a kind-hearted person, but I don't think I have it in me to pity him anymore. I don't think not feeling pity for him makes you any less of a kind-hearted person. I think you're justified.